Well, thank you for being here today, letting us come into your house and doing the second episode of the In Your House podcast. With me is Lupe Gonzalez, the coach of the year, and Faustino's here with me too.
Right on.
Making his second appearance. So, hey man, thank you for being on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've been a fan of the other podcasts that you were doing and everything, and it's kind of cool that you still continue kind of doing a little, podcast of your own now and bringing it down here into Twin. And I was a fan and I've watched some of the videos, and I don't know if you've been told this, but one of the things that I kind of found really cool about the podcast was, with you, Tony, and Mike having that podcast together, we kind of got glimpses of like different, I hate to call them eras, but different parts during where at the time where everybody lived. As I was listening to some of those, I'd be kind of like, hey, I kind of remember that. The ones that Tony would have, because those were kind of a little before, we were in high school and stuff. But you kind of remember some stuff, and then obviously you growing up with us, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I definitely remember that stuff. And then Mikey kind of bringing in the new stuff from when they were kids, and I thought that was something that really worked well with the podcast. It was really cool.
The way I thought it was there was like three groups. So it was Tony always hanging out with like Louie and Ishmael and all those guys, and then there was us. And then when we'd be walking around, hanging around, you'd always see Mike and Foey and Tolly and all those guys, and it kind of like mashed everything into one. So no, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was something I was like, oh man, that's brilliant. You get all the people from Jackpot, kind of encompass everybody to be able to listen to something and get something from it, and that I thought that was really cool. And seeing, I remember growing up being very little, and I think Tony had mentioned something about it, but all the like gangbangers and Jackpot, and all those little pods that those garbages would be in their big 13 on there.
Oh, those are old school.
Yeah, and then came the Rebels who started putting down a 14, and it was kind of, and I was remembering, I'm like, yeah, I remember, having to go on through the garbage and big old 13 Sureño on there and everything. It was like, oh man.
That's probably like one of the worst things that Cactus Beats ever
those garbage bins
is implemented in that town.
Yeah,
so what do you think was going to happen in those things?
They were just asking to be tagged. That's like a a train car right there, asking to just get something.
And some of them were
vandalized on.
Some of them were like little shacks. They were huge.
The ones in.
I think there was a few. I think there was one in Middlesex that was pretty big.
Yeah,
I know,
the one in Twin Springs was
the
really
one in Twin
big.
Springs where around where I lived, that one was massive.
Yeah.
You could build a fort in it.
I remember the one where we used to live.
Yeah.
I'm really pretty sure it was my dad, but someone put like a cutout, like a human cutout on there, like black, for the shooting range.
Yeah.
And set it right in the back. And there was one night I was walking by, and I went to go throw out the trash, and I looked in there, and I shit you not, dude, I jumped. I was like, "Fuck that, dude!" Because it was always in a scary little place where they would put them. And the one by where we lived had that one big light shining on top of it. But the one by Brown Studios,
the Brown Studios, I always remember because that was always notorious for kids starting, little fires in there. I remember you'd go through the trash and they scattered like crows, and then you'd see a fire started in a little Folgers cup and everything. You're just like, what the hell's going on here? And it was every single time. I mean, you could count on that. You'd see burn marks left and stuff, and matches left behind or stashed away for the next time they come in.
I don't know if you remember, we found like an old rolling chair, like an office chair by one. And that was during like when Jackass was really big.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember that.
You guys made me sit on it, dude. And we didn't even have a camera, but you guys would always say, "Oh, my name's Dean. Welcome to Jackass." And you guys push me down the.
I do. Yeah.
Or the one where you guys made me sit on that hand in front of I think it was Angie.
Oh yeah.
Angie Baker's.
That was
No, Kurt Ludlow's.
Yeah, that was down Dina Street. Remember Dina Street? Like, yeah, it was like where Dina lived, and then like. It was right across from where Woody and Rick lived.
Yeah, I know where they were,
right
but
across,
I don't remember.
There was like
a hand?
There were like ceramic statues out there,
like,
and there was a hand.
To sit on it. And then I don't mean to out you in any way, but you made me take my shirt off and sit there.
Like a little like a little
like
bird bath, and he goes in there and sits on the hand.
I remember that.
Oh,
it's funny because you're talking about how like you would go to the garbage and all these little kids would just scatter out of there, and it's like any other place, that would be like crackheads running out.
Yeah, it would.
It's like it was lucky that it was just kids that were
We just
starting
had pyros
fires.
in there running in and out of those things.
No, but
I don't-
speaking, do you remember? It's just because I've been weighing on me. But do you remember? Well, again, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm sure you might remember his name too. But I don't want you to say his name either because I don't want to accuse this guy of doing something that he really didn't do. But do you remember? It was over there in Cactus Beach Trailer Park. There used to be a guy out there. He lived out there, and he would always invite us in to eat pizza.
I don't know. I don't remember that one.
Dude, yeah.
Did you eat pizza? I don't remember. No, I did.
Yeah, he lived there in the trailer, and he'd always like we could be walking by. He'd always have like his shirt off, and he'd be like, "Hey man, you guys want to come in and eat some pizza?" And we'd be like, "All right, now we went in and eat pizza sometimes, and we would leave." And then sometimes he would give us money for the arcade.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
And
I
was
don't
thinking,
remember that.
Man,
No.
like, that's a scary situation. That's a grown ass man.
Yeah, I just remember it was an overnighter. We went to go play Gabs. And we were in the motel room, and a certain someone who was in your class wouldn't shut up the whole night because he wanted to hear the story.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he kept telling. And I'm not going to mimic his voice because then everyone is going to know who it was. But he kept saying, "Tell the person's story."
Yes, I do. I do remember that part. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, that was. And there was also a story in regards to that guy, and then another guy at the dump.
Yeah, I remember that one. I do
See,
definitely
so I
remember
think that's
that
probably where it kind of stems from, but.
one. Yeah.
It was just a weird situation, and I don't know. I was just curious as if more people remembered him.
Yeah.
If no one knew what you were talking about, then you might start thinking, like, "Am I going crazy? Am I doing?"
The coward of this guy?
Yeah.
I was like, no, because I remember Robert. I want to say Joey maybe a couple times. Joey was probably with us, and I remember going to his house and eating pizza. And then just be like, all right, we're going to go. He's like, all right, man. See you guys later. Just like, oh, that's weird. He's trying to groom us.
Yeah, we were having this because I don't know if you saw it, but that Michael Jackson documentary,
Oh yeah.
Leaving
Yes.
Neverland. Yeah, we were.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it. I've seen like previews and everything, but I haven't actually seen it. I don't have. What does it come on HBO or something?
Yeah.
I don't have that channel, but that's kind of crazy. It's it's Jackpot. I tell people when I wasn't living in Jackpot. When I lived in Pocatello, it's kind of some of the what it was like growing up in a small town. Some of those people, they can't believe that we would be out late at night and hanging out and everything like that. In the city, obviously, it's way more different, and you have to let your parents know exactly where you're at. But in a small town, it was, and during those times too, it's different than it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially back then, not having cell phones or anything like that. So it was kind of just your parents kind of just trusting
Yeah.
that you were smart enough
yeah.
not to do something stupid, or smart enough to ask for help when you needed help.
Yeah.
Not having any kind of way to contact them in any way was kind of you don't see that anymore. I don't think you'll ever see that again.
No.
Ever.
Yeah, now I don't even think you see kids at night anymore running around. I mean, it was like,
It was
Friday, Saturday nights in Jackpot.
It was the purge.
Yeah, everybody
It
was
the
out.
purge.
Yeah.
It was the purge when the sun go down. Then see a bunch of little mocosos running around.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was, no matter where you went, you'd see someone walking somewhere, or, when certain time come, everybody would be hanging out at Twin Springs and everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah, everywhere. You could not walk on a weekend and, not see someone kids walking down the street or whatever. It was,
yeah.
it was different.
No, there were some parts though, because I remember, like, we'd all be hanging at Gar's house, and possibly playing Resident Evil, and then I'd have to go home early, and early back then was like 9:30.
Yeah.
And I had to walk, and then there's that little space in between where the trailer park was at, and Middle Stack.
Oh, yes.
And you just walk right through there. And, dude, I've never been so afraid in my life, dude. Especially at night. And I don't know why, because it's just Resident Evil. But back then, dude, oh, man.
Yeah, it seems like that little alleyway where there was kind of... it had no light, so that was usually the darkest part there in Middle Stack. You'd have to walk by there, pitch dark in the middle of the night. Yeah, that was kind of...
Was that because you could go that way, or you could just take that concrete walkway had always been there?
Oh, yeah.
That always been there? For some reason, I thought that was newer.
No, that was there, but
so
I mean,
you had the choice of walking.
I had the choice, but
You just chose the shadows.
it
It
was
was like we were just lazy. We'd rather die than walk the extra distance. You know, that's how lazy we were.
It wasn't even that much of a distance either.
you just have to dig around. But it was either that or go home to an ass whooping. So I was like, I better take my chances. Oh man, and then because you don't. Our baseball games actually went like almost to the point like we'd call it off when you couldn't see the ball anymore either.
Yeah, that'd be pretty late. That was late.
Yeah, and you know, I liked that our baseball games. It always started by we try to get as many people, and somehow we'd always have a few people short. And I remember there were just certain times where we were just desperate for people to come play. We literally sat there and said, whoever drives by on a bike here, we're going to go over there and ask them to come join and play the game. And, you'd have some random kid, never played baseball in his life, coming.
Right?
And
here's a glove.
Yeah.
Go stand in left field.
I remember I wasn't allowed to play after I got hit in the head. Like, my mom didn't want me playing anymore. And then I was like, nah. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to be a pitcher at all. Then he goes, no, just pitch. So you're not going to get hit. You're not going to get. And that's when Eric hit me with the line drive. And then I remember I was more freaked out because I was like, oh man, I'm going to be in so much trouble. So then you guys came up with the idea, all right, you know what, okay, just tell your mom you fell off your bike. And I'm there just gushing blood out of my mouth. And you're getting like all this dirt and rubbing it on me, dude. I was trying to bend my handlebar on my bike. Like, all right, you fell off your bike, man. That's what you got to tell your mom.
You got to remember, we actually had some sort of adult figure with us. Remember, Timo was there and he was going with us. He was driving you kind of home or he was walking with us, and he was over there kind of agreeing with our story, like, yeah, this is what you tell him and everything.
He took me home when I got hit with the bat. He took me home.
Oh, maybe that was the time then.
Well, when I got hit in the mouth, and that's my fault, dude, for standing like 10 feet away and underhanding the pitches.
I think about like you getting hit, and there was a few other people I think that remember getting hit with line drives, but I think that could have been avoided if it was overhand.
Oh yeah,
I think a lot of the injury came because it was underhand.
Yeah.
It was like we should have just pitched it overhand.
Yeah, well, that was just bad luck, dude.
Remember all those summers that we played at? I'm surprised no one ever invested in a little face mask, a little cheap. We could have got like a $10 one or
not even. Yeah, the consignment stores you can buy them for like $1.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, someone in Japan, we could even use like a Jason mask. Better than.
I remember towards the end we did one year.
I think we did.
Because I bought the catcher's mask and the catcher's glove.
Full catcher's gear.
And then somebody came up with the bright idea of going to Wells and playing those guys in baseball.
That kind of just ruined it.
I
remember that.
After that, it kind of just
come on, man. We're just here to see who can get closest to the fence. We're not actually trying to hit home runs.
Right. Get out of here.
And it was really just like, if you wanted to play, you could come and play. I mean, we, as long as we had enough gloves, and in most games we probably had like 7-on-7, but I do remember one game it was like 9-on-9. And
no, there was. I remember some games where there would be like 4 people in the outfield, and like we have like 2 infield, like we had like 2 shortstops.
That's when we just had people randomly out there barehanded trying to catch balls.
Yeah.
We just didn't have enough gloves.
And then we didn't have any left-handed gloves. And you remember that? Like we didn't have. I mean, any for lefties.
Yeah.
So like Kyle and Mikey could never be on the same team.
Oh yeah.
They'd always have to switch gloves.
Yeah, to switch gloves.
Someone had a right glove that went on the right hand that they were able to use. I remember that.
So speaking of all that, we I mentioned it earlier. You won Coach of the Year, right?
Yeah, our team they did really well this year, and we went undefeated in league and went to regionals and went to state. But one of the things that I'll take most with me from that run this year that we had was I was very, very impressed with the amount of people jackpot that went to both of those. I mean, jackpot in basketball games we get somewhat of a turnout for home games and everything like that. But man, I was kind of taken back by we get to Reno and how many parents and brothers and sisters and just people from the community that came and supported the team. It really was really cool to see that. And then and then of course you get the alumni there from the Reno that went there and watched the game, and that was kind of the thing that really, it's kind of a surprise to see, and it was to the point where we were talking about this. I was talking to the assistant coach about this. When we played Premier Lake that first game, I mean, if Premier Lake always comes, and they pack the gym, especially in Reno, it being 30 minutes from.
They travel really well.
Yeah, and they always, and so they brought a crowd, and we had our little section, 30 or whatever, and man, they were just out cheering those guys and everything. And I mean, it helps that we got up on Premier League 10-0 within like the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were just so much more loud, and that was kind of one of the things that I'll always take back. And I was like, man, that was pretty cool to be part of. But even going to regionals, we had the team, and I thought, man, we could do something really, really special. And leading up to that, I tell people those were kind of two of the most fun weeks that I've ever had, because everybody from the community, it didn't matter where I went, whether it was a store or the casino, people really, all they want to know is like, hey man, are we gonna make the state? Hey, you guys ready? Is this team gonna make some noise there at regionals? And even at school, which is why I remember getting out of my car, parents that I had no idea who they were, parents of probably elementary kids, but they were probably going to the games, and they'd come up and tell me like, hey man, I think this team can make it to state. And so it was really cool to hear all that stuff. But obviously the kids, I didn't want them to get overconfident or anything like that. But the parents, they're really supportive and everything, and it kind of is cool because they're in Jackpot. I mean, we were just talking about baseball games.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd gather a bunch of kids for 2 teams, and the parents really didn't have to worry about where the kids were. Most of them were going to be playing baseball, and even then, the thing that was really cool too is we'd get people coming in and just sit in the stands and watch us. All of us who had no idea how to really play baseball, they just come and watch, and it was kind of something cool to see. And that's the kind of cool thing about Jackpots. You're welcome to play. Whether there's a pickup game on the basketball court or on the baseball field, and everyone got along to be able to go and play, and then have people just come in and just randomly watch. I remember playing baseball, and even my parents would sometimes come just sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
It's not like we were playing, competitive like in a league or anything like that. We're just out there having fun, and it was always something to do during the summer nights, and then every once in a while I'd get girlfriends come in and watch, and so that was really cool, and all the support that we got was kind of one of the biggest takeaways that I get from that. And it kind of says a lot about the community there.
I was curious, do you know how many kids are returning next year?
So we lose 3 players. We lose our best player, and we lose 2 really good players that played some important roles for us and everything. But I mean, I think that no one in the league's really losing anyone.
No.
Wells will be losing 1, and really that's about it. So it's going to be very competitive. But I told those kids it just depends on how much work they put in the summer.
That's where
that's what it's going to come down to. If they want to get back to that level, it's going to be a lot of work to get back there again. But I'm pretty high on these guys, and I think they'll do pretty good. But they have to go out there in the summer, and whether it's camps or together, just do something. Not take the summer off.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember us doing a lot of summer things. Do you guys have anything planned? Like, do you guys do anything?
Yeah, we don't do anything
organized
like
as far as that goes.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. I remember, we had stuff planned. I remember going into our senior year, we went to the Utah State camp and the University of Utah camp, and those were, camps that really, those were more like team camps. But
yeah,
I mean, they helped us a lot. Kind of whether it was situational things or.
Chemistry.
Chemistry, just playing as a team. I mean, that was, that really helped a lot. But, it's so hard now to really do a lot of stuff like that because there's so much paperwork that needs to go into that. I didn't realize how much paperwork and
money's an issue.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Money's a huge.
Yeah, it's hard to, do a lot of fundraisers, to get fundraisers to do, there in Jackpot.
It's a small community too.
Yeah.
You can only pull
And
so many resources.
It's smaller than it was, when we were there. I mean, it's even smaller than we were there, and we do what we can for fundraisers, but most of the stuff we do now during the year. Now, though, a lot of those kids do go to individual camps, which helps a lot. Like
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Oh,
they'll
wow.
go to like there's one here in CSI. I think there's a couple here at CSI that it's just individual skills camps, but that's a lot of help.
Yeah.
The point guards go there and they work with some of the point guards there from CSI, and they do certain things. I think it's like a 3-day camp they do in the summer. So hopefully some of those guys make it in and practice a little bit over the summer. But it was a good season, and I think back and it's kind of crazy because we started off pretty well. We started off 2-0, and then we lost. And then I felt like when we played against Alamo, and I don't know, I was told that we'd never beat Alamo, but we went to Alamo and
You were told? Who told you you wouldn't beat Alamo?
I was told by a lot of people that like, oh, we haven't beat Alamo in Jackpot's history. I don't know whether that's true or not, but so we went against them and we won, and I think that we really got overconfident, and then we kind of went on a little bit of I think we lost like 3 out of 4 games after that. And I remember the last game that we lost before our state loss was in West Wendover, and I remember kind of getting back, and we ate at the Burger King and Subway that we always eat at. I mean, we stopped there.
Memories.
Yeah, you always get the same. I don't even know if the same people are still working there in some of those, but yeah, we stopped and I was sitting and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm cut out to do this. I mean, everybody was down. The team was down. And I kind of was starting to think, man, I don't know if I can do it at this level. For this, for very long. It was tough. It was a tough loss, and we were on a losing streak. And I was sitting there, and I remember, our bus driver came up to me and he goes, "Hey, this, you got to stop worrying about this. This team, they had a bad game, but I've seen these guys play, 9 games now, and this team's gonna make it to regionals, and you guys have a good possibility of winning some games there." And I thought he was being nice and everything, so I was kind of like, oh man. And then I don't know why, but there was, I think the Eureka girls had a game somewhere. I want to say it was Ely, and I don't remember exactly, but there was a Eureka coach there, and he stopped and he knew our bus driver, and he started talking to me about the girls team, and they lost a girl senior who got injured and she was out for the season. But he was talking to the driver, and he goes, "Hey, our boys team, they're looking pretty good. We have some good days and some bad days, but they beat, I forgot what team it was. I want to say it was a pretty decent team in the South."
Yeah.
And so at that point I was like, man, I really got to step it up if we're going to even compete in league. And after that we changed some things around, and then we went on that 14-game winning streak, and it was just,
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, and so we went to regional with a lot of hopes and everything, and I said, I told those kids, the same story that, I told them, hey, I lost to Pyramid Lake my junior year, and it'd be nice to get some payback, but I truly tried not to make that really much of a story, and I just told them and everything, and tried not to, they've got to win their own game and whatever, and we went in there and we won, and it was kind of like, I knew we should have won that game, but, we won it, and then we went against Wattel. They'd taken us out 2 of the past 3 years, and that was, I mean, definitely one of the most nerve-wracking games I've ever coached or even been a part of, and those guys, they wanted it so bad because they'd taken them out 2 of the past 3 years. The seniors there, they had been taken out by them twice. So we went in there, and it was just back and forth for like the first 2.5 quarters, and then after that we kind of pulled away and won the game. And it was, that one of the coolest feelings was going into that locker room after we'd won, and all those guys were excited because they knew that with that win we'd made the state. And now it was just a matter of seeding, and so we went in there, and it was definitely one of the coolest feelings to see those guys to be able to celebrate something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we ended up facing, Wells beat Sierra Lutheran, who was a really good team, and we're like, wow. We stayed and watched that game, and then we played them, and we had a pretty bad game that game. We still ended up winning, but it was really cool to kind of, once again, Jackpot never won a regional championship, and so to be able to do that and go back, and it was just a fun, like I said, those 2 weeks were just really fun leading up to state and to regionals.
I've always been curious as far as like coaching and playing, like how does the competitive nature, how is it different?
You know, as a player, you kind of, it's definitely, I still think it's much more nerve-wracking and much more, how do I explain, you know, kind of your juice get flowing as a player, but you know, it's pretty close as a coach. It's definitely very close, but you know, it sucks because you can't go out there and there's, you know, a lot of that stuff once they get out there, you know, the execution is out of your control now. You know, you give the kids all the plays and everything, but you know, now the execution being where they're supposed to be is kind of out of your control at that point. And I think it's definitely, I think when you're younger, you don't think about it as much. You lose games and stuff like that, but you know, I for me personally, it weighs a lot more on me, those losses, when as a coach than when we were players.
Yeah.
You know, because then you have to go back and say, what adjustments do I have to make? What things do I have to do to put these guys to be in successful positions? And so but it's definitely, I mean, you know, I always hear it as like it's the closest thing you can get to playing is, you know, is coaching.
Yeah.
And you know, the excitement is there and everything like that, but you know, it's also you kind of have to deal with a little bit about the unpredictability also with working with teenagers. You never know. I mean, some games we played great, and then other games, you know, we didn't play as good as we should have. But I mean, you know, it was a very good season. I was very proud of it, and you know, kind of start preparing for next year. But it was kind of something that, you know, once we started winning a lot of those games, I started really realizing, like, man, this team, when we're on, we can beat just about anyone in the state and in 1A. But you know, we lost in the state semifinals, and you know, that game we didn't really play that well either.
Yeah,
you know,
it was low scoring.
Yeah, we played great defense, and we played great defense all year, but just our offense, nothing was falling, and they were a tall team, and they were athletic and they looked really fast. And you know, we had a 4-point lead at the half, and we just couldn't hang on. It was just, you know, they started pressing a little bit. We had a harder time dealing with their height. I think we really kind of started getting more scared of getting blocked and went up for, you know, layups and things like that. So, but yeah, it's definitely something I'll never forget.
Good.
Yeah, it's just Jackpot's always been a basketball town.
Yeah.
So, and then I think what you brought in was that fresh air. Like, I'm gonna say you pretty much revived, you know, that program. You know, you brought it back, and actually going to these places where, well, I know like my junior and senior year, we would just get mauled. I mean, there was one game I think as a team we had 4 or 5 rebounds as a whole game, and for that, dude, it was bad. And
the shooting percentage is almost
oh, dude,
like 95%.
It was really bad. But for you to go into these places and just win in the style that you guys won too,
I mean, how good does it feel going to Milwaukee and winning?
Yeah. I mean, you know, this year a bunch of them got kicked off, but you know, we've been in there. We've gone to Milwaukee and won, and it's always been hostile area and definitely not a easy place to win. But yeah, it's great to go to places where you're not given much of a chance, and winning pretty convincingly is kind of cool.
As you know, and like I was talking to these guys in the last podcast, like how different are the crowds compared to when you were playing? I mean, because I know going into like Carlin and sometimes Eureka, you know, there was a lot of racial tension that went on with a bunch of us, and a lot of things were said. Yeah, the interesting thing is that the crowds don't seem to be as big as they were when we were in high school. I remember in high school, man, you know, there were some gyms that were packed. And it seems like now, I mean, there's still really good, decent-sized crowds, but you know, the amount of people are not the same anymore. I don't know what. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if, you know, maybe other schools,
maybe baseball is more popular now in other schools, but basketball wise, it's not the same amount of people. The gyms aren't packed.
Yeah.
Like I remember in our senior year when we played at regionals there at North Valley School, and that now that I go back there as a coach, I went back there last year, and man, that's a huge school. I mean, the gym and the bleachers and everything, for it to be that packed, and obviously most of it was for Premier Lake that when we were seniors, but it's different now. We had to, the gyms were pretty full, this year, but you remember people standing outside, trying to get in because it was so packed. And even there in Las Vegas, obviously it was not as big as a gym as I would have expected, but even then it was pretty full. And we had a lot of people from Jackpot show up, and people from Las Vegas that I hadn't seen in like forever. And I saw Tony and Luis there. They were there, and then it was cool to see them supporting the team. But there was people that I never even knew went to Jackpot there, and so I had to kind of ask around, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this person went to school in 1993, and they graduated in 1993 or whatever." So that was really cool to see.
That's a trip.
Yeah, people like I didn't know, but they were still there supporting, and they still were there supporting the Jackpot Jaguars, and someone told me that there was actually a teacher that worked at that school that was from Jackpot. I forgot what her name was, but I'm like, oh, I would never have known that. I mean, because they graduated from Jackpot from so long ago, and so that was kind of cool, and kind of going back to that, that was something that was nice to see, is those kids' families and people being able to make it there to to Las Vegas and Reno, especially Jackpot. Friday and Saturdays are busy days there at the casino. Right? I mean, it's hard to get days off during that time. So for them to be able to go there and do that's something that I'll definitely take with me.
Are your practices as hard as they were in high school?
As hard as we do a lot of conditioning. I don't do the ladder,
Oh God! Yeah, that's what I was.
There was people, there were people who would quit. I remember there's every year when we were in high school, someone would quit over having to do the ladder, and I don't do that, but I mean, God, I remember how hard that was. I mean, being put into one group or the other, that was always, you always want to put one group lower so you can kind of just coast or whatever.
Yeah,
but man, that was hard.
I remember, I can't recall who told me it, but I remember someone came back from the military and they were saying that the ladder was harder than the basic training.
Oh gosh.
I was like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, and it was always like on a Wednesday too.
Yeah,
like, do it. Oh man,
it was the worst.
It was. I just remember just huffing and puffing and saying, "Oh man, we're only halfway through this. We still got more to go." And it was, remember. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was always that argument of what's harder, the ladder or Hoffman's loop.
Yeah.
There was always someone arguing which one is harder. And then you start hearing stories about people sitting there walking halfway to the rail guard and then just sitting there waiting and then coming back and saying, "Oh, I'm done." I was like, what the heck?
Which was so stupid because like I did it and I was a thrower. I had no business out there. I should have been in a weight room, but I was out there doing the loop with all these like long distance runners.
Cross training over there?
Dude, I was like, what the hell am I doing here?
Get out of here.
No, the one that I always I don't want to say scared me, but was when we do free throws for balls.
Oh yeah.
And then you go varsity. Well, no, they'd mix it up, so it'd be varsity and JV and all that. And then when I go up to the line, I just always remember looking at Sergio, because Sergio would look at me and he just like, man, if I disappoint Sergio, man, this is gonna suck.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. And Matt always brings up the whole, every time he comes down here, he'll throw in the little "believe in yourself." You always hear that random voice, someone just, believe in yourself going into those those free throws. It's just like, oh man.
Oh, get out of here.
That was always the word. And then also like when we go to open gyms, when I know you're going there and you're practicing, but those, like when you guys were in high school, actually turned out to be like super competitive. Like you didn't want to like,
yeah, very competitive.
Yeah, and that was a kind of thing that I remember some open gyms, man, we get up to 25 people, and It's like you literally, if you lost a game, you may not play again.
You better just go home,
Yeah.
dude.
I remember those. Those were the worst.
Yeah, it was literally
Those
like
are the worst.
25 people, and you're like, holy crap! I have to wait, 40 minutes or whatever before I can get back on, and those were like really competitive. I think that's what really brought people there. Is they kind of it got their competitive juices going. It doesn't matter what team you were on. You wanted to win and stay on the court for the rest of the game,
That's true.
for the rest of the day. But I mean,
Didn't Unglaub like tear his ACL?
oh man, I remember.
Oh yeah. No, it was ACL. It was like his calf. It was his calf.
It was
Yeah,
something
like
where he just fell.
Yeah.
Dude, he just,
Yeah, and I remember there was someone there. I think there was some sort of sports medic or whatever, and they started stretching and making it worse, and he started yelling even worse, and we're like, pretty sure that's not helping him out.
What's that?
And he just rolled on the mat there for about 10 minutes. I was like, oh man, that must have been pretty severe.
Oh man.
yeah, I mean, well, with open gyms and like talking about community, that just showed you how
Yeah,
invested.
yeah.
Because we had Dr. Keimel used to go over there and play a couple games too.
Uh-huh.
Like he would go over there. There'd
yeah.
be a lot of old timers go over there. The worst is when you're shooting free throws to make the team. Anytime Pancho made a team, dude, I would miss my free throw on purpose, even if it meant not playing, just because I didn't want to get smacked in the head with one of his crazy ass through the legs around the back kind of pass.
He's a one-man fast break.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. He's gonna assist himself.
Those were the open gyms were always fun because you just sometimes end up on a team that someone you've never played with in your life, and yeah, it is right. I mean, people just came in and people graduated many years and to little ninth graders and everything, and so you had like a mixture of just all of
random
Jackpot,
people.
yeah, and the people who played in Jackpot, and that was kind of it was fun. I mean, obviously, it was pretty rare for some of those guys to ever call their fouls,
Oh, yeah,
There's that one guy,
There's
Nick.
another one,
They call your foul.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that.
Yeah, you would never get a foul call. You would have to bleed
Yeah.
in order for there to be a foul
Yeah,
call.
oh, man, it was-
It'd have to be. I remember. What was it? I remember Paulie a few times getting slapped on the back. Like
Oh,
yeah.
those were the worst, dude.
Yeah,
you
you
just
see him
hear a big old slap.
Just see him walking back, running back, a big old hand mark on his back.
Man.
It was like a little
man.
baby. He slapped him on the
Oh,
back. with
dude, he
those-
got me one time, like right in the middle of the back too, dude. And the whole open gym had this big old bear print like right on my back, dude.
Oh man, yeah, it
And
was.
what sucked is he'd do it after you do something good.
Yeah,
Good job, dude.
Yeah.
he just slaps you a good pat on the back, and you're like big old red mark on your back after getting just slapped on the back from him.
Those
But-
are always good though. I think that probably, like with your class especially, probably built up a lot of like not your guys' chemistry, but more of your guys' like fortitude, because you go up against those guys who were
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
and especially to be able to in a way you show them up, that was
Yeah.
always.
I remember a few times. I think when we were, I want to say we had been freshmen, and we would play varsity versus JV. And I remember there was a few times when Sergio would look at me and be like, "Man, maybe we shouldn't beat these guys. Maybe we shouldn't play as hard." I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because the wall gets mad. It gets mad at them, then we all run for it." He's like,
Those,
all right, well, just
You know,
let
my-
off on the gas a little bit.
yeah, my freshman year, man, that was, I wasn't prepared for the amount of, how hard those practices were going to be. We were used to, having practices in 8th grade where they were an hour long, and
Yeah, they were
No.
tough.
I saw, what year did we have Carpenter and Ann as our
Is that 7th, 8th grade?
yeah,
That was your 7th because 8th grade.
Yeah,
you had
then I actually-
Adrian.
Oh, Agent
Yeah.
Karen.
yeah. Then I actually saw Ann at regionals and everything.
Oh,
And
no
so,
way.
Yeah, she was there, and what's it called? I'm like, oh crap, she coached when we were in like 7th grade.
I
She
remember
came-
that.
You remember that?
Vaguely remember that. Oh, you know what? I think I remember her making us do yoga poses at one point in time. Like we were doing yoga stretches.
Don't you remember I don't know what the heck we were celebrating as 7th grade as a junior high team. We ended up at her house, and what the heck did
We
What
watched Saving Private Ryan.
we? I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
went to the movie theater to watch Saving Private Ryan.
Maybe
we
that was
did.
it, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we somehow ended, to celebrate at her house and everything, and I don't know how the heck we even got up here, but
I totally forgot about that.
I
Yeah.
remember your guys' 8th grade year. I'd asked Miss Carpenter if I can be the manager. So
Oh,
I was
yeah,
there,
I do remember.
I was there at the gate, and then after the season, we went to Twin, and we went to go watch the Green Mile.
Oh, man.
And Tyler
yeah.
had said something during the movie, and I'd ordered this big old thing of popcorn, and he said something funny, dude. I couldn't control I started laughing. Then like all the popcorn fell everywhere,
I
dude.
do-
Yeah, and then you got pissed off because you were taking the movie seriously. You were
Green
at the
Mile,
movie.
man.
God, dude, that's it. Yeah, so I think it boils down to how much basketball means
Yeah.
to that town and what you were able to do for it. A well-deserved Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
well
thank you.
deserved.
Yeah, I mean,
Well
it
deserved.
was definitely something. Man, going to state and everything. I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I'm like, man, that would be so cool for the school to win a state title. I mean, that would be something that never been done and be able to do that. But we fell short. But I'm definitely proud of that season. I mean, I think it was a very successful season, and I can't say enough about how proud I am of those guys and the season that we had, and definitely all the support that we had out there. But yeah, coaching, it does take me a lot back to those days when we used to play basketball and kind of think, did I think this way when I was a high schooler, and obviously the basketball once again is a lot, even I know it sounds cliche, but it is different than when we were in high school. That whole importance of the 3-pointer is carried a lot down into high school. A lot of, everybody wants to shoot the 3-pointers. It doesn't matter if you're the center, you should be down low. Everybody wants to go down there and chuck up a 3. And God, there's probably been games that we've even been part of where probably half the shots were 3-pointers. And I think when we were in high school, it was starting to really kind of be a bigger deal. But crap, I don't remember having half of our shots coming from 3-pointers. It may have, but maybe it didn't seem like it. But now it's like that's pretty common. 50% of your shots from 3-pointers is kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no.
So it's hard to. It's definitely an adjustment.
My junior year, we went into Wells, and we were already losing, and Wallach was just laying into everyone. Then he looked at me and was like, I see you in practice. You shoot 3s, right? Shoot one. I want you to shoot one. I was like, he's giving me, all right. So I lined up at the baseline, and I shot it. And for it hit the right spot of the backboard and went in. So I was like 1 for 1. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I got that ego. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it again. And then I shot another one, airballed it. And like 10 seconds later, I'm sitting on the bench. Dude.
Yeah.
But I went 1 for 1, man. So I'm not going to.
You got the compliment, man.
And especially because I was telling Foss this, but when you started wearing a headband and everything, when I was in junior high, I was like, you know what, dude, Lupe wears a headband. I'm going to wear a headband too. So like all throughout my high school year, I always wore a headband.
Did you do it all the years?
Yeah, always wore one.
I don't remember.
I was trying to think, did they give us headbands, or did you have to purchase your own?
I had to buy my own.
I thought for some reason I thought they gave us
No.
headbands.
No, I
That was
bought.
I think it was just the Wild Things, right?
Yeah,
wristband?
for varsity. Remember they did the Wild Things. They did the wristbands,
Right? Oh,
and
okay.
then but yeah, they never.
I thought they
But-
gave us the headbands.
Yeah, it's kind of and even adding to what Dean was saying is like, crap. We grew out playing in the blacktop out there, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
before that, it was like, crap. We had to. I honestly don't know what we did before that was there,
Dude,
because-
no, I was talking to I can't remember who I was talking to about it, but we played basketball at the Monkey Bars.
Yeah. I remember we used to
We
play.
played at the Monkey Bars,
Yeah,
And then they put that thing in with the three, the blue, the yellow, and the red
yeah, like a
Oh,
rebound
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
and then
I remember a few times we actually played on the blacktop there when they didn't have backboards or anything. All they had was just the metal bar,
Oh yeah.
and you just had to hit the metal
Yeah,
bar. Hit the
I
metal bar.
remember. Yeah,
we talking about
It was
just
like-
ghetto, man.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, and that's pretty like crap. I remember, I was like maybe like 8, and I was like, man, there was not because I don't remember what the heck we used to do before the blacktop. I remember, even before those metal bars were up there, and I remember playing at recess basketball, with the little red
Yeah.
bouncy
Dodgeball.
dodgeball. That's essentially what it was. But I don't know what we did, but I remember I was like, man, I wanted to hoop for the longest time. And, we didn't have a lot of money. So I remember my dad made a little makeshift backboard with a piece of wood. And then literally, I'm not even kidding, Huffy bike
Oh,
rim
oh,
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
that.
yeah, and for like a year, I played with that. And finally, I remember one Christmas, I finally got an actual legit rim. But I mean, it was like, we really liked it. We loved basketball and everything.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
kind of like
man.
the thing to do in Jackpot. And once again, it was one of those things. Hey, if we needed 5-on-5, and what the heck showed up? Anybody that we could get out there we'd go out there and we'd play out in the basketball courts and things like that. And that's kind of cool because once again, I tell some of the stories when I was living in Pocatello there and going to school. Some of the kids, I'm like, you mean you guys just get random people, whoever wanted to play would play? Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. Here, there's enough people where it's like, dude, if you suck, they just get you off the court.
Yeah,
You sit there and watch. You're not part of the team,
Yeah.
And same thing with the baseball field.
Yeah.
When I tell people stories all the time, and they're like, you mean you had free use to the baseball field? I go, yeah. I don't know any better, so I was asking them about it, and they're like, no, man, there's little league games going on constantly. And I remember when we would take my dog out for walks, we'd take him to a local park, and they had a little, essentially a softball field there. And every single time we were there was something going on, whether it was little league or softball league. That baseball field was put to use there, at least the one where we would take our dog to the park. But crap, man, no one ever used that baseball field, right? We'd go out there and then we'd go use it. And
I remember up until I was trying to figure out, because don't you remember like the casinos used to play each other?
Yeah, I remember.
That?
Yeah, I remember they had.
I
Yeah,
don't
they had
remember
some
when that
sort of
stopped, but they
thing.
used to play each other all the time. And they used to have like a concession stand out there.
Did they? I don't remember
they
that.
had like a trailer. It was like a silver trailer they used to have, and it wasn't out there all the time, but it was out there every once in a while. And you'd go out there and get a hot dog and fries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
And so I always tell people, like, we literally would play out there, and we had no real concept of the game. We played what we knew and everything, but crap, we'd play out there, and those sprinklers came on. Someone would go get the big trash can, put it over there, and still.
We got in trouble for that one too.
Yeah,
we got in trouble for it.
I think it was Travis came over and yelled at us. Don't be doing that. And then at the time, Luis was working at the pool. I remember Ken was running it. He was actually running a lot of it.
Yeah, I remember when Ken was.
And Ken was like, "Oh, you yelled at you guys? Yeah, well, don't worry about it again." And they never came on again after that.
Yeah, because I remember I was gonna say we did that multiple times, and I tell them about that, and they're kind of like shocked, like, because some of the friends I had in Pocatello were, they were diehard baseball fans.
Yeah.
And they talk about how hard it was ever to, they would try to go find some sort of field, and we're talking about Pocatello is a pretty big city.
Yeah.
And it has multiple softball fields and baseball fields, and they said, they would go, spend half an hour going from one park to another trying to find one that was open, and they said it was rare ever. Yeah. And so, I tell them, like, yeah, well, crap, we go out there to play on our softball field. It was never used.
Probably just adopted it.
Yeah, we went out there and we'd go play baseball. And
do you remember we had to we would move the bases?
Yeah, we'd move the bases
90 feet.
Yeah, we'd move the bases a little more, and we'd play literally till we couldn't see the ball.
Yeah,
we'd have to call the game.
Call the game to the darkness.
Yeah.
And then we just all meet up over at Gar's
house. We go, yeah.
I remember, because you were saying about how you couldn't remember what we played basketball on, but do you remember when the pool, the recreation center, got to play basketball?
Yeah.
And it was like, if you did not get there in time, you never played. Because like, if you didn't get there early in the morning, if you didn't claim that as your own, dude, you were done, dude. And that's where 21 basically came in. Game 21, it was like, that's where it was just like a free for all.
That is right. Yeah.
You have like 30 people out there playing. It's like, why don't you just play teams?
Yeah. And it was always like, even when we were like 7th, 6th graders, and we try to get it there first, but then obviously the bigger kid would come in and they start taking over and dunking
pretty quick.
So like, oh crap. Okay.
And then I remember when they actually completed the other one right there outside of the shop, and we were in 6th grade. I don't know if you remember, we were out there all the time, dude. And it was like before school.
Yeah, I remember.
We went out there, and then we got locked out. we went back to Mr. Strong's house, and
he was right.
We were like, "What the heck, man? We can't get inside."
I remember.
And he opened the door. He's like, "Oh, You guys go to class here? He's like, yeah. You guys hear the bell? No.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I remember that.
We had to
That's
walk
funny.
all the way back to the office and tell them they wouldn't let us in.
I was about to say that. I was like, I remember walking there and I'm like, we're gonna be late. Esau's playing out there.
Yeah.
Doors like we're sitting there knocking. Nothing. Like, I know they're all in there. You can hear them. He's like, knocking. We're just standing out there knocking. All the, so each other. You open the door. Just the head pops out. You guys hear the bell? No? Or yeah? All right. Close it, just slam the door shut on our face.
Yeah,
Like,
Could you
Yeah.
get away with that kind of stuff?
no,
now?
man,
Now?
no way. There's no way you'd get in trouble for that. But like stuff like that it is just so crazy. And 15 years or whatever that we've been, how different things are. That's a hard thing for me to adjust to is kind of the difference because you come in with, what you learn and how you learn and the way things were before, and then you quickly know, man, it's different now. That's not the same. But I remember that, and so it's funny because it's just like, we were sixth graders at that time. We're all trying to get in there.
We were trying to get into a classroom and it's locked.
Yeah.
I remember having to walk to the office and be like, "What are you guys doing?" And like, our teacher won't let us.
Yeah.
Won't let us into class.
I was like,
Nowadays, that's probably like a lawsuit?
Yeah, I
dude?
know.
Something brewing?
I mean, and it even like, how about fights? How's school? Like, people still get in fights in
yeah,
school?
in the time that I've been there, not one fight.
Not one fight, huh?
Wow.
And there's that's another difference now is, everybody hangs out. It doesn't matter whether you're a seventh grader or a senior. I mean, everybody. I mean,
It's
there's
all mingled. Huh?
yeah, everybody just mingles together, and then
That's
that's
probably
kind of
better.
cool. And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, a lot
And
better.
and it's not like when we were in high school, it's like you probably had maybe one or two people from another class that would hang out with you, but it was kind of more. I mean, it wasn't necessarily cliquish, but it was more.
Segregated.
Yeah,
Like
like-
class.
Well, it was more tribal.
Yeah.
You had the groups. I got shit on the most because I would never hang out with people. I was
Yeah.
always hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, I remember. I just remember how terrified I was from going from sixth grade to seventh grade.
Yeah, yeah.
That was like terrifying to
But
me.
yeah, because you grow up watching all those bully movies, and you're like, oh man, am I gonna get stuffed in a locker, or crap, am I gonna get pantsed in
In
gym class, or
Yeah,
and things like that. Yeah, it was scary, but
getting a locker was a big deal.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
man, learning your combination that's big, man.
so it was cool seeing all the going back and thinking about the baseball days. I was just thinking the other day. I don't know if you guys watched the Sandlot reunion thing.
No.
Dude, we gotta get everybody back together, and they had a Sandlot reunion on, I don't know what channel it was, but all the kids from the Sandlot
Yeah.
they showed never seen before footage of the movie or behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And all of those kids, they go back and well, they're not kids anymore, but they talk about how that was kind of none of those kids knew each other going into that movie, and then they all kind of became friends, and
Oh, that's cool.
and they look back and say, oh man, that was one of the most fun summers of our life. But yeah, I'm surprised you guys haven't watched it. That's really cool. Kind of just like a reunion, and they're just talking and stuff like that. We've got to get everyone back from the Jackpot Club that we had.
Dude,
and do
no one.
there you go. That's one of a reunion podcast right there.
No, I don't even think of all the people that were in there.
Jeez,
Oh man, yeah.
You have to.
And
You
that's
have
the
to
thing is
dig
we
quite a
had
bit.
different people,
Constantly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember there would be girls.
There was
Yeah.
always though like your main core. Like Louis' team was always like Louis, Tony, Dustin Corbridge. There's a few others, but then our team was always me, you, Lupe, Joey.
Joe.
No, Mo was always on. No, Mo was on our. Yeah, because Dustin Corbridge
Yeah.
beamed him with.
Right in the back. Oh man, that
I
was
was talking about getting into someone's head, man.
yeah. And it's just because all he would do is freaking laugh all wild as he's running the bases. Like,
Well, he hit a. I think he might have hit like it was a double, but it kind of rolled to get a triple.
Yeah.
And he was running every base, just doing this
Yeah.
annoying little laugh, dude.
oh man,
He was sitting down too, and it happened, wasn't he?
No, he was running.
he was running. Yeah,
He was running, then he got beat. Because then all of a sudden he just went. It looked like that scene of Platoon when he's running away.
Yeah.
Because his arms just go all wide, and then you just hear.
Yeah.
"Oh."
He falls down. He starts rolling around. Like,
I thought he was sitting. For some reason, I thought he was sitting down talking shit, and then he got nailed in the back.
he was running around like second, going into third.
Yeah.
and
Alright.
he just got it, and we're like, what the? And he just lays
That,
there.
yeah, that kind of stopped the game. That was almost
Yeah.
we almost cleared the benches on that one. Dude.
That was pretty bad.
That was I remember that. That was, and it just a lot of those things, and a lot of those games we'd have to halt because someone would end up getting hit or, I remember one time when I was running to second base and someone threw the ball from first base to second base and it literally just skid off my head and then it hit Tony Farsh right in the forehead. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
It was right in the forehead. And I was like, you see a red mark.
You
I'm
heard
like,
it,
dude, that
too.
thing hurt me because it barely skid off my head. I remember it hit me. And I'm like, oh dang! And then all of a sudden I hear just, and I'm like, the heck was that? And Tony's right there, and he had a big old red mark on his
Palm
on
of the
his
forehead.
Yeah. Oh man. And so I remember we stopped briefly and everything, made sure everyone was okay. But I remember I got hit in the back of top of the head, but I mean it wasn't as bad as some of those other ones. Not like mole or from 3 feet away.
Because
fastball
that
to
was
the back.
just straight. That was all power. And it just hit him right square in the back. I remember that was. And then little Chris Farce got hit.
Oh yeah, I remember he got hit in the shin.
What'd you call him? You called him Little John Rocker.
Little John Rocker. I remember the big controversy
come on.
in baseball during that time.
John Rocker, that's right. Yeah.
He crawled off the field dragging his leg.
Then he wanted me to go pitch. I was like, nah, man. Nah, Chief. I'm not doing that anymore, man. You go ahead and pitch.
Pitching was dangerous.
Yeah.
It never, I guess one thing I don't understand now. I look at it now because my stepson he's done baseball and kind of things, and it's like you would think that you would have someone from your own team pitch to you if you were going to do underhand.
Yeah.
But we always had the opposite team pitch.
Yeah.
That. So it's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, that is right.
It make no sense to me. If you weren't trying to get him out, you're not trying to get a striker, and you're like,
well, I remember with me, I would go. I would stand pretty close, but I would underhand it in a way so they think that they just want to bean it, and every time they'd swing, they'd miss. So that's how I got my strikeouts. And after a while, you're riding on that wave of yeah, man, I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
and then you just get hit, and then just everything goes to shit. You're like, nah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we would have been all right though if we would have had baseball.
Yeah.
School.
We went out there, and it was always fun. We always had a fun time out there playing, and it was always just a matter of hopefully we can get the numbers, to go out there and play. And I remember sitting out there behind, Frost House and trying to decide, do we have enough people to play?
that was a big deal. I remember it was always tough trying to recruit people and everything
To
like
play,
that.
yeah. So, speaking of school and all that, is there still any of the the shenanigans going on, like the butt touching that we used to do all the time? I know it sounds bad, but
I don't see as much of that. No, it's not even that. Yeah, I mean, I remember in when we were in high school, obviously it was kind of guys will be guys, but I don't see that.
I don't know,
being as
man.
big
I
of
think
an
that's
issue anymore.
that's taking the easy way out because we were, the one thing that always trips me out the most is that we weren't afraid to go around and squeeze some guy's butt or nut check him, but come football after a game, everyone would shower with their girdles on. It's no, because if you see me naked, that crosses the line. I don't mind grabbing your butt, dude, or doing all that, but if you see me naked, no, that's just
It's going too far.
that's going too far, man.
Yeah, no, I asked you about the fights things because, I remember, I don't know why, but it came to me thinking about Mr. Strong's, but I remember a specific girl shoving a pencil into another guy's thigh. You remember that?
No, I don't remember.
You remember that? Yeah, it was right there, and it was literally embedded in him, he couldn't get it out. The pencil was stuck in his thigh. I was
Wow, yeah.
that would not fight. Not anymore. It's assault.
No,
Yeah, oh yeah, that'd be taken very seriously.
Yeah, it was. I just reminded me of that class. That classroom was.
is it more of a kid thing, or are parents now more not overprotective, but more just watching over everything?
Yeah, I think with all the stuff that's gone on in schools and everything, I think parents are definitely much more, alert to what the heck is going on. And like I said, I haven't seen that problem happening in Jackpot, but I mean, on the newspaper or in the news or whatever you read, you always hear something like that happen. You know, whether they're a kid getting bullied or, you know, just things in general. And so, you know, it's just different times. And even older, I've talked to older teachers, and they're like, yeah, I mean, it's just, the times are so different than what they were 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, how they're not segregated as they used to be, and
No,
everyone's,
that's
mingling as much as they can.
yeah.
How about dances? What are dances like these days, dude? You chaperone any dances?
A couple, and I mean,
Kind of the same thing.
yeah, it's just the same. That's probably something that hasn't changed.
Probably not.
Guys on one side, girls
Yeah,
on one
dancing,
side, and,
dancing girls is gay, dude. You
Yeah,
don't do that, dude.
and then and of course everybody always waits to like the last hour of the dance to really start dancing, and so that by the time it's over, it was like, oh no, let's keep it going. Like you guys had like 2 hours before that, and you know, and it never feels. I mean, that's something even like when we were younger. It's like 2 hours. I mean, there's just maybe one or two brave couples out there dancing, but
And it's always slow.
Yeah.
It's always slow dance. Like they would play, they would just play. Basically, all the other music was just background music.
Yeah.
No one's ever dancing to.
Yeah, and that's now. I in the dance that I've chaperoned, maybe they have 2 slow dances. It's not.
Oh, it's not slow
No.
dances anymore. Oh no way.
Nope.
Oh man.
It's a lot of house music for sure.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I guess that's a
um,
little. We didn't really have that kind of luxury because you don't really know.
Yeah.
You need to know how to dance to that.
Yeah.
You can just go out there and just fist
Yeah.
pump and you'd be good.
Yeah.
But like, come on, man. A cumbia mix comes on.
Yeah.
You're about to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So no, but
yeah, that's weird. Like, I don't know how that. Like, it was kind of mind-boggling to me when you're expecting, okay, maybe some sort of slow dance at some point, but throughout maybe one slow dance the whole time.
that is crazy.
Remember, like prom, that was the whole
Dude,
thing.
yeah,
Like,
prom
you
was just like all slow dancing
Yeah.
the whole time.
yeah, and
Because now with music, it's like, can you really dance in a certain way and get away with it?
no, and I've never even seen that. Like, you would have seen that 15 years ago. Now it's like,
Yeah.
you know, everyone just gets in a giant circle and just.
I remember it was your,
They don't really have dance. They don't have like a dance partner. It's more just like a dance group.
Yeah, that's what essentially. I mean, there'll be some dance with a split up and everything, but mostly it's just kind of like just a giant. And everybody's dancing.
because one homecoming year they did like a little dance outside by the bonfire. I think it was your guys' senior year, and teachers had to like watch what was going on.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there was some stuff.
It was a
There was a
little.
little.
Yeah,
It wasn't G-rated anymore.
Yeah.
More like gyrating. No, I remember that. No, because everyone's been curious about like dances because like I remember, like I think it was like it would normally cost like $5 to get in, or was it
Yeah.
like 10?
I think it was
No,
like
it's like 5.
It
I
would have
think.
been like $5.
Five.
Yeah,
And then I
5.
think prom was the one that was kind of.
Prom was like I remember prom would be like $40. Am I wrong?
it was like probably like 20 is what I remember.
I
It
think
probably
like-
seemed like $40 when we were younger.
I think it was like
a lot.
$40 for a single and like 30 for a couple.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably what I'm thinking then. But just think about how much money you would spend,
Oh gosh,
and you wouldn't
yeah.
wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, you have to go get measured for a suit and then do all that.
Then you'd go out to eat before or afterwards. And, I mean, it was just
ridiculous.
yeah.
Then you'd always have like someone with a bottle in their car, and you just go out there and.
See, but I never. I never really drank in high. I didn't drink in high school at all. I didn't drink till I was like 19. This is weird.
I think I only did my junior year at homecoming, and then at prom my junior year. That was the only time.
Oh,
that I-
Is it? Oh, see, you gotta live that sober life. You have fun, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely changed a lot. Like I said, I had to kind of adapt to that because it was different than when we were going to school.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, like we just talked about earlier, the whole. I mean, Jackpot's it's just different than when we were younger. It's not the same. The park there doesn't exist anymore, as far as I know.
Yeah, that is.
It's a dog park
great.
now.
Yeah,
Is it dog park?
I think
It's
so.
a dog park
Oh.
now. But then right next to it is there's like where the soccer field
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah.
That's the park now.
Yeah, they have that park there.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's a dog park now, and then they have I think it's like the soccer complex right down. There's like two. I think there's like 2 soccer
Yeah,
fields on there.
they do. They have,
Massive soccer field.
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of.
I don't. That's kind of weird why they brought that.
Well,
They don't have soccer games.
they don't
anymore,
have
do they?
any. I remember
Or
when
matches, really?
when Khaki Sweets would bring in the students from like
Oh,
Poland,
yeah.
and then the one I remember the most was when the people from Poland came over,
Yeah.
and they played all like the Mexican dads at soccer,
Oh,
and then they showed up like they were probably like 4 or 5 beers in already, dude, and all these guys from Poland are all shirtless and all shredded.
Do you remember when they used to have those soccer games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
When Jack would have a
Wendover.
team, and then Wells and Wendover would come, and
Always a fight
Yeah.
afterwards.
Oh yeah.
it's like literally you would go there to almost basically watch a fight, and a soccer game would break out. You know, it's like, what the heck, man? Like it was literally there's something always happening in those soccer games, and those were other things that were a lot of people would show up. Remember, everyone would park their cars, and some people would never even get out of their car, or even
Who ref those matches, by the way?
I don't know who
Locals?
refed those games.
Was this locals?
Yeah, I think it was just local people. I mean, just refing the game.
Or just Scouts honor, dude. No
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah, and those were. I remember it was like almost like every Monday. You know, you'd look down there and you'd see all the cars. Like, oh, there's a soccer game. Let's go watch it.
Yeah.
Let's go weasel over here.
Yeah.
See who's talking
Yeah.
shit these days.
You had, like Wells and Jerome and other teams.
Wendover.
I just remember the Wendover.
Wendover.
Longmont, yeah.
Wendover
No,
a
always,
lot.
yeah.
Wendover is a lot.
Yeah, I went to Wendover actually 2 weeks ago,
Oh,
and the first time I've gone in years, dude. And it's still very hood rich, dude.
and it's
Wendover's-
grown though.
It's,
That's-
yeah. Wendover just really reminds me of Mesquite. It's probably because it's the same setup where you're
Yeah.
interstate going right through
Oh, okay.
and all that. But no,
I've
it
never
was.
been there.
Yeah, I've never been to Mesquite.
You've never been to Mesquite? Oh wow.
Me neither. Yeah, like Wendover. When I went back there for golf, 5 years ago, it had grown a lot more than I remember. I hadn't been there probably since like 2007, so 8 years or whatever. And I was like, oh man, it is big. It's bigger than I remember. They have a whole new big subdivision up by the golf course. They got new apartments that you can see off the golf course. So that's just all the stuff that you can see from there. I don't know.
What
how
about
much other
businesses
stuff.
though? I think the last time I went, the last time I went was maybe 4 years ago, and it looked like like housing developments, but I don't really see much.
Yeah,
businesses.
I don't think I've seen much new businesses
I
there.
think just the casinos just that
That
big.
casino-
Oh,
Be
they
doing that
opened
well.
up that Lee's Liquor over there.
Oh, yeah,
in
that was just
Wendover.
recent though. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that wouldn't really affect housing. No, that's more
Oh, yeah.
Utah
Plus,
coming
I
out.
mean, I know they put in that big, I don't know, arena or whatever there for the
that's
red
right.
or
That's
Peppermill.
right.
Was it the Peppermill?
It's
who did
Peppermill.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get quite a.
They've had some.
good entertainers.
God, I can't remember who the heck I read it that was going there. I'm like, what the heck, to Wendover? Like, dang.
Yeah, it was a trip because I hadn't been there in forever, and then going there, I was like, wow, it's it brought back memories of when we played Wendover, Utah, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the one where like when we left, we were watched because I think that's
yeah.
the one that was more prone for fights to break out
Yeah.
was the Wendover, Utah.
Wonder why that is.
I don't know. I haven't been, and all these times I've been to Wendover, for golf and for basketball. I haven't been to the Utah side.
Really?
I've always been to. Yeah, really, I don't think I've even passed. The Peppermill. I mean, I've kind of stayed even on this side of the Nevada side, but I don't know what the heck the Wendover side on Utah would even look like anymore.
Even if it's still there.
I mean,
I
it
don't know.
probably it wouldn't leave. It's probably still a little shithole anyway. In shithole countries. Dang, dude. Yeah.
But
well,
yeah, man, it's pretty cool, to kind of remember all the stuff that we did in Jackpot, and because now it's like, man, we're in our 30s now, and we look back and it's like, man, that was like 20 something years ago. You don't even forget a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Well,
someone brings it up, you're like, oh yeah.
We definitely grew up. I don't want to say sheltered, but we grew up in our own unique way because there's people I talk to who don't like, the way we would touch each other's butts or the way we got along was something that people can't really comprehend.
Yeah.
And then the one time where I remember telling the story last week when you were going to nut check me, my instant reaction was to turn away. You do that to someone in a different
Anyone
place,
else,
or
they don't.
you're ready to square up.
Yeah, ready to beat someone up.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
So I mean, so even to think back to that, and like remember to to think back to remember when the lowriders were all the hit and everybody wanted to own one of those cool lowriders.
What was it? The Purple People Eater?
Oh, the Purple People Eater was there, and there was always a bunch of people that were subscribed to the Lowrider magazine that came out every month or whatever. And you're like, oh man,
they were... the funniest was when Fast and Furious first came out.
Oh yeah,
and everyone wanted logos, and Mole puts him on his bike, dude.
That's awesome. That's a gem.
Yeah,
that's a jackpot gem.
Dude,
right there,
that guy.
Look at the jackpot treasure.
That was probably of that time one of the biggest sayings. All right, let's do it for Pink Slip. Like, oh, man,
that's where a lot of like legends start, like with Victor. For some reason, we just attached that to Victor. It's probably because he had that little the Geostorm.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I just kind of fucked up, but he always looked like that bull in Space Jam when he's driving in the game, dude. Because all you would just see is hogs, and what sucks is we're calling him hogs. And it's nothing to do with him. It's just because of his sweater, the Haagen-Dazs sweater. Then because if anyone would hear us, oh, it's hogs. That's fucked up. What do you call him that?
Everybody wanted one of the cool cars and get it from all those movies, and everyone would be all alert if there was some weird car from like Wales or Wendover in town. Like, oh, someone's here.
Yeah,
so and so was here or whatever.
It was very tribal. It was extremely tribal the way it band together and be like, nah, man, it's cool if we're talking shit to each other, but someone else comes in.
Yeah. Well,
dude, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks
being
for
on,
man. That was fun.
It was good. You get a good perspective as far as player and coach.
Yeah,
it was definitely something that I like to go back and remember some of those times, especially things that you don't remember, and they're like, oh yeah, and someone brings it up, and it's like, oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get Nestor and Carlos on it too, and that one I don't even think there's gonna be nothing serious talked about the whole time, dude. Because I was telling this guy the reason Carlos loved like the podcast because he always loved the way Tony would hold his beer and look at his beer and say, "Oh, today I'm drinking this." Like it's such
official.
a professional, yeah.
Genuine critique.
Yeah.
A beer connoisseur through and through. Dude.
So no, it was good. Like I said, I appreciate you letting us come in your house.
Thanks for coming by.
Doing this podcast. So once again, our guest for this week was Lupe Gonzalez, Coach of the Year.
Thank you. I need Dean as a hype man.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Exactly what you need.
I'll do it for some Dean snacks.
Yeah, there you go.
The Dean snack. I remember that.
All right, we better stop here. We can't continue with any more of this. We don't want to jeopardize anything.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah,
thank you for listening. As soon as we get this edited, I'll be posted up. There's a Facebook page on there too. So it's In Your House Podcast. I took the logo from the old WWF. So hopefully no one catches wind and I get in trouble for copyright infringement. But I blacked out the WWF, so it should be good. For the time being.
Yeah, I know. Thank God for Photoshop.
Right? Yeah. And thank you for listening. That's a wrap.
Thank you.